Now, from the station on your side, this is Wavy News 10.
Crash landing in California. We'll have the latest on the scary situation in San Francisco. And a deadly start to the weekend in Hampton, where 2 people were shot and killed. Plus, a Virginia woman facing charges for the death of her baby boy. The tragic mistake serves as a warning to others. We're following breaking news out of California tonight. Here is a live look at the scene in San Francisco. That's where a passenger jet made a crash landing right around noon. It was at San Francisco International Airport. Federal aviation officials say the Boeing 777 flew in from South Korea, and there were about 300 passengers on board at the time of that crash landing. 10 on your side's Lauren Compton is following the latest details, and she joins us live from the newsroom. Lauren.
And right now we're working to get details on the conditions of the passengers on that plane. We don't know right now if anyone died in the crash, but we do know that a lot of those passengers were able to make it off the plane using inflatable emergency slides. This plane crash happened just before noon at the San Francisco International Airport. Passengers were on Flight 214 from South Korea with Asiana Airlines. Witnesses say part of the plane began to break off as it was landing. The tail section of the Boeing 777 also broke off. As the plane was landing, witnesses say they could see smoke coming from the wheels. The plane caught fire and flames charred. As you can see there, the aftermath of the crash, flames charred most of the plane.
Where you typically see smoke from the wheels coming down, that initial touchdown, there was a larger plume of white smoke. You heard a pop, and then you immediately saw a large, brief fireball that came out from underneath the aircraft.
Now, the San Francisco International Airport is closed right now. Investigators are going to that scene to try to determine what caused this crash. The Boeing 777, as I mentioned earlier, is an Asiana airline. That airline has had 2 major crashes since it was founded. Now, you'll want to stay with Wavy News 10 to get the latest on this developing story. In the newsroom, Lauren Compton, 10 on your side.
Once again, this was an Asiana Airlines Flight 214 traveling from Seoul, South Korea to San Francisco. The crash happened when the jet was coming in for a landing. That's from eyewitnesses. There were 291 people on board at the time, and that included a group of South Korean children who were on a vacation trip. There's no word on how many people are injured or if there are any fatalities in this crash. We're following this closely. Also, the NTSB is expected to make a news release, a news announcement within the hour, so we'll keep you updated on that as well. New at 6, a sailor fell overboard and died at Naval Station Norfolk today. A public information officer for Sublant tells us it was a crew member from the USS Boise. The accident happened around noon, and divers searched the water there for about 2 hours before finding the man's body. The Navy has not released his name. There were 2 deadly shootings in Hampton just hours apart. One man died after getting shot during an argument on Phelps Circle late last night, and a woman was shot and killed yesterday afternoon in a busy shopping center parking lot. Now, police tell us those 2 men got into the argument around 11:30 last night on Phelps Circle. That's off East Pembroke Road, right near the Buckrow Shopping Center. Investigators say John Thomas Brown is the victim. He died at the scene. Officers arrested 35-year-old John Homer O'Neill IV. He is facing murder and gun charges. Hampton police are looking for this man, Brandon Lee Davis Berkeley. He lives on Cass Court in Newport News. They say he's the suspect in yesterday's deadly shooting in the parking lot in front of the Food Lion at Coliseum Crossing. 20-year-old Brianna Bell of Newport News was killed in that shooting. Investigators say she was in a car with Berkeley when the 2 got into a fight. They say Berkeley then shot Bell. If you have any information that can help police, if you think you may have seen anything, call the crime line. State police investigators are trying to figure out why a Hampton University student fell to his death off an Interstate 64 bridge in Richmond. It happened early Friday morning. State police say 19-year-old Christopher Smith fell from the Chaco Valley Bridge. They say he was riding in a car and got into an argument with other passengers. The car stopped, he got out, and then somehow he fell over the side of the bridge. Smith is from Maryland. Police are looking for that car. Police in 2 Hampton Road cities are investigating a pair of robberies. The first happened yesterday morning in Norfolk. A man robbed the 7-Eleven on 21st Street in Ghent. They say the man in the black shirt walked in with a knife, asked for the money, and ran off. More than 24 hours later, there are still no arrests in this Norfolk shooting. Police say a man was shot on West Ocean View Avenue after several people burst into the home. A fight started and the man who lived there was shot. He's in the hospital in serious condition. Now let's take a look at the weather. A live look outside from our Tower Cam 10. What a beautiful summer day it is. Hot and humid though. Perfect for maybe some time at the beach, a walk, maybe taking the kids to the park. Super Doppler 10 meteorologist Tiffany Savona joins us from the Weather Center. Hey, Tiffany.
Hi, Ann, and it was a perfect day at the beach. I was there earlier, and here's a look at the First Street jetty down at the ocean front. You can see it is packed. Lots of folks out there, courtesy of surfline.com. Lots of sunshine out there as well. So a perfect beach day, and the water was very refreshing. Water temperatures around 65 to 70 degrees. Now, if you plan on going to the beach tomorrow, we're looking at another great beach day. The UV index is going to be high, so you will need the sunscreen. Surf about 2 feet, and the rip current risk is going to remain on the low side. Those temperatures have been in the upper 80s, lower 90s all day long. 89 right now in Virginia Beach, 89 at Norfolk International, 91 in Williamsburg, Newport News, and we're at 90 degrees in Chesapeake. But when you factor in the humidity, it feels a little bit warmer out there. It feels like 95 at Norfolk Naval Base. It feels like 100 at Fentress. It feels like 97 in Suffolk. So you need to find ways to stay cool out there. At least there's a little bit of a breeze, but it is a warm breeze. Winds out of the southwest at about 5 to about 15 miles per hour. Tonight it will be muggy, 74 degrees for your low. Tomorrow, more 90s in the forecast, but we are going to stay dry. Rain chances will be going up as we head into the work week. All that and more coming up.
Still ahead on Wavy News 10 at 6, it's Patriots Day at the Portsmouth Waterfront. We'll show you how they're celebrating the rest of this holiday weekend.
You're watching Wavy News 10 at 6, live from the station on your side.
If you were down at the Portsmouth Waterfront today, you might have thought you traveled back in time. That was the city's annual Patriots Day celebration. It's sponsored by the Friends of the Portsmouth Naval Museum, and visitors got a taste of what life was like at the time of the War for Independence way back in 1776. In addition to music, there were demonstrations of rope making, board games, and of course the food. But first, you had to make a very tough decision.
So when people come into the display, we let them choose whether they would like to be a patriot or a loyalist, or whether they are neutral, undecided.
Once you step back in time, you also had the chance to brush up on your swashbuckling skills at a real-life pirate school. Coming up next on Wavy News 10 at 6, a Virginia mother who left her daughter to die in a hot car now faces felony charges. Plus, severe weather in Georgia caused an oak tree to fall on a house.
Plus, it is going to be hot and humid once again tomorrow. We'll get a closer look at your extended forecast and talk about when rain will be back in the forecast coming up.
A Virginia mother is facing felony charges after she left her baby to die in a hot car. Alexandria police say 32-year-old Zoraida Hernandez drove to work Friday, and she said she forgot that she had her son in the car. It was not until she left work later that day that she saw her child sitting there. Hernandez drove immediately to the hospital. The infant was pronounced dead a short time later. Police say she was charged today with felony child neglect. Police say parents of young children need to be extra cautious during these hot summer months.
Slow down and be careful. Try not to let things get too busy. Again, I don't know why, and probably we don't know why at this point, what led to her mistake or failure.
A devastating mistake. According to the website kidsandcars.org, 38 children die every year from being trapped inside hot cars. A similar scene in Maryland. Police in Wilkins say officers found a 1-year-old girl in a truck yesterday afternoon. The girl, Sabria Towels, was taken to an area hospital where doctors pronounced her dead. Investigators say a relative was supposed to take the girl to her Head Start center, but he forgot to drop the girl off. The man then took a 4-hour nap. He realized the girl was still in the truck when he left to pick her up. The Maryland State Attorney's Office will decide if that man will face any charges. Some severe storms moving across the southeast down trees and cause flooding in some areas. Look at this video from Atlanta. This huge oak tree was scheduled to be removed next week, But as you know, it always happens when you have it scheduled. High winds knocked it down right into a home. Luckily, the owner was not hurt. He said the trees seemed to fall in slow motion.
Suddenly it just got really, really dark. It got darker and darker and darker, and then I saw, the branches coming down toward me and just green, and then the house started being crushed. I leapt out of my chair and I was like, ah, and then, I started climbing underneath my desk because I have a big metal desk in my office. So it's my across the street neighbor's tree. And she had it looked at, and she actually had scheduled the tree guys to come out this next week to remove it.
Whew, close call there. At one point, thousands were without electricity from downed trees and power lines.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with meteorologist Tiffany Savona.
And with all of that severe weather came a lot of flooding as
Right.
well we've seen in the southeast.
Yes, they've seen a lot of rain. Unfortunately, it had to fall on the holiday weekend. The rain stopped just in time for us to enjoy the 4th of July.